we electronically being recorded?
Yep, we are.
Are we open to whoever's want to be in there?
Yeah, we have one person outside, so.
Okay. Shall we have the pledge of allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and now we go through our introductions, starting at this to my left.
Daniel Pence, City of Lynchburg, Registrar.
Trish Jones, Deputy Registrar.
Patty Gibbs, Secretary of the Electoral Board.
David Levy, Chair of the Electoral Board.
Jerry Schrago, Vice Chair of the Electoral Board.
Jeff Rosner, Lynchburg Democratic Committee, Authorized Representative and Voter Protection Liaison.
Cora Safarati, citizen.
Judy Farrell, citizen.
Ron Webb, editor.
Greg Barrett, City Over.
Yusuf Rani, just a guy from Ward 1.
Carolyn Sharego, and I'm a citizen, but if you're wondering about the good interchange, I am married to Jerry Sharego. And I'm a former registrar.
You're so fortunate.
And former board member.
And a board member, yes, that's true.
Kim Wynn, citizen.
Bill Hawkins, so.
Howard Hall, citizen.
Mark Hannon, reporter with the News in Advance.
Or Mark. He's over there in timeout by himself.
Thank you all for coming. We have an agenda that's been circulated. I have an amendment to the agenda under the new business, which would be an item B, that we consider the April 21st election, the possible establishment of satellite offices. The April 21st constitutional amendment election issue possible satellite voting locations. Okay, is there a motion to adopt the agenda as amended? Second. All in favor? Shall we move ahead to the minutes for January 8th, 2026? Those were posted on the website. Any unreadiness and circulated here? Any unreadiness about the minutes? I move the adoption of the minutes, the approval of the minutes for the January 8th, 2026.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We also have the minutes for the January 28th, 2026 closed meeting. I move the adoption of the minutes for the January 28th, 2026
Second.
closed meeting. Second, all those in favor? Aye. The motion is passed. Moving on, do we have announcements?
Well, one, the city council is going to consider the change.
Yes, that's under the unfinished business. Yeah. Okay, any other announcements? Moving into the registrar's report. It's also timely posted on the website.
Yes, so a PDF version of this report is on our website as per usual. So if you wish to review that either prior to the meeting or after the meeting or during the meeting, you can do that. I'm going to display on the screen what I'm sharing with the board. So this is the registrar's report for February 12th, 26. We have statistical reports, budgetary reports, and ongoing projects. some announcements and a calendar. Beginning with the first report, we have registering counts by locality. This just gives you an idea about what the active and inactive, and also breakdown by military, overseas, and federal registrants are per precinct. As you can see, our largest precincts are 401 and 101 and 201. 202 is kind of following closely behind that. These are the numbers. Our total number across the jurisdiction is 58,968, of which 55,825 are active and 3,142 are inactive. And this is the count as of February 1st. So our numbers as of today will be just a tiny bit different, but that's accurate as of February 1st.
Does that include the recent national change of address mail?
No, so the national change of address mailing, which was sent on, remind me, was it 27th, 29th?
I think it was February 2nd.
February 2nd. So that does not include that, but just for clarification, essentially what that does is that takes everybody who we have lost track of by mail, that is, we've had a return mail, and it is the department's way of verifying that we definitely don't have a valid address for them, or if they respond, and they do, then we go ahead and mark that in the state registration system. But without them responding within 30 days, or getting a mail back of return, then those voters become inactive in the inactive rolls. They'll stay in inactive status unless they come back and re-register or vote, and their registration is reactivated. If they don't vote or reactivate their registration within 2 federal elections, then they'll be purged from the rolls. That's what the NVR, that's what that process is about. Any other questions on that first report? Okay, locality statistics, month of January 2025. This is just a breakdown of how kind of who's come in, who's come out. The transfer in and transfer out. Basically, you can draw a line after change out that column header straight down, and everything to the left of that is a change in. I'm sorry, change in. Everything to the left of that is inbound. Everything to the right of that is outbound, meaning they're getting added to the precinct or taken away. The net change is the column all the way to the far second column to the far right. And the end total is basically the change from the beginning totals column over to the net change and to ending totals. And that just gives you a sense of where each precinct is and what is taking place in terms of in or out with each of those precincts. Any questions on any of those numbers there? Okay.
Thank you.
This is the department budget for the registrar as of February 1st. It includes obviously the registrar and the electoral board, two separate categories underneath the registrar's budget. Each of the spending, allocated spending comes from the adopted budget column plus the budget amendments. So the amended budget column in the third, fifth column over is the money that we're working with in each category. It's broken down by GL accounts, which are essentially sub-accounts defining what we might be spending money on. For the most part, they're pretty self-explanatory, but maybe now and then you might need a little bit of help with it. The first set of lines going from 1,500 down to 30100, down to 25600 are all permanent employee costs. And then starting at 3,100 and going down, these are other costs that are allocated to the registrar's budget. There are parallel accounts or GL breakdowns for the electoral board. So this shows the rest of those for the registrars. And you see down toward the bottom of the page, it shows the allocation for the electoral board. In general, the cost of elections, things like ballots and election officers and other things that are specific to elections, cost of programming machines, et cetera, get allocated to the electoral board's budget, and the cost of running the office, things like sending update notifications, like we're going to have a polling place change, should the council approve that tonight, and I'll have to send out a notice 30 days in advance of the election for everybody. And that cost, say, for example, will roll into the registrar's budget, but other election-specific costs roll into the electoral board's budget. Just looking at the bottom number down here, we're about 66% of our budget spent so far this year. We've got about 157,966 to go before we're out of money for the year, at least according to what we have budgeted. And so we're running maybe just a little bit ahead of where we should be for this point in the fiscal year. Remember, fiscal years runs from July 1 we're in 2026 right now, but it started in July 1, it goes to June 30. So that's the amount of money we have to spend between now and June 30. We do have, like David mentioned, one election coming up. And so that election will fall into that budget amount. And if we can fit it in there, that's great. Otherwise, we may go back to the city council and discuss with them a budget amendment. You may have heard that we've agreed with the city that we're going to year by year actually budget for one election. Generally, we always know we have a November election, so we've budgeted for that. And we agreed that we will go back and ask for additional money for any additional elections. So during this fiscal year, it looks like we're going to have a November election, which we've already had back in 2025 of November, and we're going to have an April referendum, which is upcoming very soon. The legislation that enabled the referendum for April 21st also moves the primary election out to August the 4th. So that will actually fall into the next fiscal year, because that will turn over on July 1, and then we'll be in fiscal 2027. Any questions on this report?
On the budget, we decided whether or not to come in with a report for the third quarter to city council or go to the fourth quarter and do it as a final reconciliation.
Yep.
I think at our next meeting, we'll know more about the April election.
Yep.
So that we can defer that decision, but it sounds like a decision that we would defer to our fourth quarter review.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be up to you, to the board to decide how you want to handle that. But we will have some of our election costs for April 21 known by the March meeting. For example, we'll be ordering ballots for that referendum, at least the early voting ballots within the next, literally, I'll probably place that order tomorrow once you, assuming you approve the recommendation I have here. And so we'll have, some of those costs. We also are preparing for starting early voting as soon as March 6th, right? That's when that will begin. So we'll start to know what some of those costs look like before the March meeting. And we can maybe make some estimates from there, but it's possible we're close enough to our, the budget that we have left in the year that it makes sense to go to the fourth quarter. But like I said, that's a decision that we can make for next meeting.
Okay.
Any other questions on this?
That's it for right now.
Okay. Here's a proposed ballot order for the April 21st election. What we've done here is we haven't, normally what we'll do is we'll look at previous elections that are similar to the election that we have upcoming. Like, for example, if we have a primary election, we've had similar primary elections in the past. We'll try to project based on the percentage of voters in those previous elections. We have not had a constitutional referendum since, what was it? What did we decide?
It's like 1956.
1956, something like that. So we don't really have a
Same election.
recent election, a standalone. So we don't know for sure what our turnout's going to look like. I've kind of somewhat arbitrarily said that we think we're going to have a 15% turnout. That may be high, maybe low, we don't know. But the way we're planning to order this is to order a portion of it and then put it into second order as needed when we get closer to election day. Once we see what the turnout in early voting actually looks like, it gives us a sense of whether this is a high interest election or a lower interest election. So right now, we've just done a flat 15% across the board. Normally, we have varying percentages across different precincts, but since we don't really have good data to go on previously, we've just gone ahead and projected that. And so you can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth column over there. I've given us a 5% fudge factor, if you will, just kind of tipping it up a little bit so that we don't run out of ballots, because we never want to do that. But that ends up with an estimate of how many we'll need per precinct. And then right now, my tentative order that I would put in is the last column in blue there. And that's what we would do for now.
What are our drop-dead deadlines for ordering ballots?
So I know other jurisdictions are ordering ballots right now. And so we're kind of right in the middle. I'm sure there's some that will still be coming, next week. But since we have to have ballots in hand and actually voting on them on March 6th, that's 2.5 weeks away, 3 weeks away. So that's why it's probably good to put them in now. That, of course, now is
lead time do we need with a printer?
They've been pretty good. I mean, they usually turn around within a week and a half or 2 weeks anyway at the latest. You have to print them and ship them, right? That's the exercise there. Sometimes they turn around a little faster, but I know they're going to be busy right now. So the busier they are, you have to factor that into the timeline as well.
There's no problem with the ballot proof or the ballot.
We completed our ballot proofing today, so that we've gotten that approved and that's been done today.
Okay, good. Any unreadiness about the 15% number?
It's almost impossible, really, right? I think
To pick a number?
picking up the Democrats, I think once they get more, if it actually goes forward, are going to be very excited to vote for this. Republicans, hypocritically, are going to be very excited to vote against this. And it started in Texas because of Mr. Trump. And so it might be a really big turnout. You don't know. So
I would observe that the special elections of Northern Virginia that were just held Tuesday, one for the for the Senate seat, I think, was 10%. And the House seat was 9%.
Yeah.
Might have been the other way around. So and those were hotly fought.
Yeah.
And publicized.
It's tough. You don't want to waste money.
Right. What happens if we don't have sufficient ballots?
Well, so the way we've done this in the past, and this will be the plan going forward, we'd order, essentially what I've put on the list here is half of what we think we'll need total. So we kind of front load a little bit that we'd have more. If we get to, somewhere into early voting and realize, wow, we're, starting to run thin, we'll do another order. I've actually in previous elections put in 3 different orders.
Yeah, when's our next time frame for ordering ballots in that scenario? All else before
We've actually done it as close as I would say 2 weeks before the election.
So
When they've been able to turn it around.
during the first week of April.
Yeah, we can definitely do this the first week of April. We should be fine.
Okay.
And if it turns out we think we're shy, then we, obviously we bump our order based on what the estimates take place. And we've had in the past also, we've ordered half and we've decided that probably our estimate was on target. We didn't really need to do more than we did originally, the second order, or even less sometimes. So,
Okay.
okay. All right.
Moving on.
Ongoing projects. This is things that we've just been working on step by step. Page programming is an ongoing program that's on our radar. We just continue to solicit pages for various elections. I don't know if we're going to have a lot of engagement for this special election with pages, we'll have to see. But certainly for November, they usually get more interest and response in November. We still have some backup precincts who we would like to get some paperwork completed on. I've got 3 fully executed. I've got another 2 to get done. So that's still in a state of needs to be completed. This Department of Elections has asked us to assign a chief deputy registrar. And so I think that's something that the next administration will have to pick up the ball on that, as we'll need to get someone assigned to that position according to the Department of Elections. And of course, the city's going to have to pay for that. So that's a whole other question.
But that has been approved by, the salary range has been approved by city HR.
HR agrees with the salary range. However, once again, this may come into a budget request with the city council, right? So I would say it's partially there.
Okay.
We have a new polling place selected for precinct 401. The board has approved that. That's up to the city council. That's on the agenda for tonight.
When did the mailers go out for people?
The requirement by code is 30 days. So we usually work with BMS. That's a mailing service that the city uses. And usually they need about 2 weeks to get that all ready for us. So I've got on my calendar, I think, before early voting to kind of get engaged in that to make sure that we have all that sorted out. The Department of Elections has to issue the actual notice. They have to get approval on that. That won't take place until we submit the precinct change request. If we get a approval back from the Attorney General prior to the 6-day mark, we can put it in as a regular polling place change. They don't usually return it that fast, so we typically put it in as just after the 6-day mark as a emergency change, which will then convert to a regular change after the election. So we've done that in the past. So at the 6-day mark, I expect to have that submitted to the Department of Elections. They turn that around within a day or 2, and then they'll give us the notices, and then we'll go ahead and get that queued up for BMS to send out, so we can hit the 30-day deadline. All right. A couple of closed item here. We got our annual policy on remote meetings done last time. You guys are also working on the new registrar. It's on the agenda today. There's also some review of election worker management software. We've done a demo of 1 or 2 of those packages. There's actually another package I think the board should look at. So that's pending a schedule for that. And then also we have the annual LESS exercise. You've received from me the initial posture questionnaire that I'm suggesting that we submit.
Yeah, I couldn't open my attachment to that email.
So it gets sent via secure email, and you should have a license that allows you to open that. So
I think I'll need some help on that.
okay, so we'll have to investigate whether you have the proper license for that, because so that's how that's sent. That may be why.
Were you all able to?
So yeah, so we'll sort that out so you can review that. And then just on the calendar, just so we know it's there, we need to also do the annual voting system security program exercise, and that's due on the 20th.
For the benefit of the audience, including myself, what does LESS stand for?
Local election security standards. So the 2 exercises are kind of dovetailed together. The first one really has to do mostly with IT items in that questionnaire. And so they ask, a lot of things about how the IT is configured. And that's why when I do that exercise, I work with IT security from City of Lynchburg to make sure that we're answering the questions accurately to what they do. There's a portion, obviously, that falls within our world because we have things like poll books and voting scanners. They're also, computers. And so we have some piece of that, but they do essentially most of the security they provide for us. But we have to, provide these answers to the questionnaire. And, some of that is related to what you all will do with the voting system security campaign. Okay, that's what I have for projects. Any questions on that? Okay, announcements. We'll be closed in observance of President's Day. We are looking at a April 21st election. And it's sitting right now with the Virginia Supreme Court. They would have to overrule the Haswell Court's disbarment of the election. The Department of Elections expects that to happen. Early voting will begin under that election as soon as March 6th. And I know you will continue to seek officer of election applicants for these elections, especially with the 21st coming up quickly of April. New polling place precinct is going before City Council for a public hearing tonight. And we are right now looking at an LNA testing for early voting and cap equipment that, what did we say, what was the date? I think we put it on our next one.
24th.
The 24th of February. There you go. So this is the calendar going forward. Some of the items on the calendar to be aware of. Tomorrow I will plan to put in a early voting ballot order according to what you've approved. And then this is what we're going to be doing heading toward the April referendum. Any questions?
Busy calendar.
Busy calendar.
Good, thank you. Moving on to unfinished business. We have the relocation of the polling place for precinct 401. I suppose I should report on that we have selected All People's Church on Old Graves Mill Road. And the paperwork for that approval has been submitted to City Council, has been published properly. And City Council is in line to address it today. Yeah. So that looks like it will be a done deal in a timely way. Any unreadiness on that report? The search for a new registrar. The search for the new registrar has been extensive. I will report on the search, and then I will be making a motion about the results of the search. We had 44 applicants and very good applicants. We were able to identify 5 that we all were very impressed with. It was a very diverse group, interestingly enough. All of them were from Lynchburg, very qualified people. Some had better qualifications in some areas than in other areas, but we went through an extensive screening process of their resumes, of their references, and then we conducted interviews for the past 2 days. At the end of the interviews, we discussed them, and I'm in a position to make a motion that we appoint Patricia Jones, presently Deputy Registrar with the Registrar's Office, to the position of Registrar for the remainder of the term of Mr. Pence through June 30th, 2027. Tentatively, subject to my discussion with Ms. Jones and Mr. Pence, we are looking at a commence date of March 1st, 2026, subject to possibly negotiating a consulting contract with Mr. Pence to backstop the situation. I therefore move a motion that we so approve Tricia Gibbons as registrar for the city of Lynchburg.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion having passed. Congratulations, Ms. Jones.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
I'd like to say something.
Please.
For the record, I want to say that I am deeply appreciative of Christine Gibbons for her years of service as General Registrar for Lynchburg, and to Kim Connor for her decades of service as Deputy Registrar. That being said, I look forward to working with Trish in her new role.
Thank you, Chair.
And I will say that I particularly had input from both of them personally in discussions. So that there's been a very active discussion about this situation. Okay. Any further comments? Moving on to new business. We have two items. First, appointment of 2026 election officers. Now, we probably should have published this list well ahead of this meeting, but we have produced a list based on all of the applications that we've received. Thank you, Ms. Gibbs.
Yes, thank you.
And we have 130 candidates for election officer. The policy that we adopted said that we will appoint these election officers to 1 or 2 or 3 year service, depending on their years of prior service and in special circumstances for exceptional performance. We do not have a sufficient record system, I think, to detail exceptional performance. So we have not taken the time really to have a special call meeting to go through performance. And primarily the years, as you see on the list that we are appointing them to, are due to their years of service and their roles in previous elections. Remarkably, we have almost parity between Democrats, Republicans, and non-designated party people. That's to be remarked. And this may give us sufficient election officers to get us through this year, but we are accepting applications and encouraging applications. Even so, there are people who will not be able to serve on the various election days or early voting or whatever. But that being said, shall we have a motion, Ms. Gibbs, possibly, for the appointment of these election officers?
Yes, but I also was going to say that the people who are brand new or who have only worked one election will be appointed for 1 year.
Exactly.
And people who have worked for more than 2 elections will be appointed for 2 years. And people who've been here for more than 3 elections will be appointed for 3 years. And then after the board approves these appointments tonight, I'll send everybody an email telling them how long their term is. But also we had 40 brand new applicants that are among this list of 130. And yes, we have almost parity between the parties and the non-affiliated. And then there are 64 people that'll get 1-year terms, 20 that'll have 2-year terms, and 46 that'll have a 3-year term. And we really appreciate those people who just keep coming back every time. And Peter.
Some of them were.
Yes,
You wanted to
exactly.
mention how this compares to the numbers a year ago?
Oh, yeah, so, well, David was hoping we would have 150 people today. 130 is so close, especially compared to last February, we had 71. So we have almost twice as many this time. So, all right, I will make the motion that we appoint these 130 candidates as election officers beginning March 1st, 2026.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion is passed. Shall we move on to the next order of business? Which can give the revised exact wording of what we said. The April 21st constitutional amendment election and issue of possible satellite voting locations. The legislature, in adopting the April 21st date for a constitutional amendment vote on redistricting in Virginia, adopted it as something called the Caboose Bill, which is a bill adopted in the second year of a 2-year budget to make changes in the budget. And they have given various directions about this April 21st election that are somewhat cryptic. It also is subject to whatever the Supreme Court does on the suit that's pending. But that being said, one issue in the bill seems to be ambiguous, but mandate that there be absentee balloting at satellite locations in every locality in the state. In many parts of Virginia, larger jurisdictions, they have set up satellite locations where people can vote absentee in person at those satellite locations. In the smaller jurisdictions, it's a burden. In a city like Lynchburg, which is so compact, really, we do not need to have a satellite location. But the State Board of Elections has asked us to consult with the city council and council to the city about what to do about satellite locations. So we've passed on that directive to the city attorney and to council. It would be appropriate for us also as an electoral board to adopt a resolution that we do not find a need for a satellite location, that we believe that the general registrar's office alone can handle the expected volume in absentee balloting. Also, further, we would have a finding that opening a satellite office would not ease the burden on our registrar's office, and in fact would increase the burden on our registrar's office by stretching our resources. With that said, I move that the board adopt such a motion for us to transmit to city council and the city. So moved. Second. Did you get enough of the wording?
To
Transmit to city council and to the city attorney. Any unreadiness? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay. That will be fun. Okay, now we open the meeting for public comments. Are there any public comments?
I have a question. I think, if my memory serves me correctly, the list of election officials, needs to be posted publicly. And I don't remember, and I don't know where it's published now, so where will this be available?
Okay, it's only.
Yes, as of right now. So once this is approved today, we'll go ahead and take a copy of that and post that. There's a bulletin board in the office, so if you come into the front door and you just look around to your left, that's where it's the old one, I think we took the old one down. But anyway, from last time, but anyway, it's just.
And if there will be additions during the year, will that be updated?
Yeah. Yep, somebody sent that along, we just go ahead and pop that up on the board.
Yes, I'm Jeff Rosner, Lynchburg Democratic Committee, and I have a comment on campaign finance. On Tuesday, February 10th, the News in Advance ran an article on local elections, partly about rural ground game, a political action committee. The article quotes the chair of the Lynchburg Republican City Committee as saying, in part, that rural ground game is, quote, a group that is not registered, not accountable, and not disclosing its donors, unquote. That statement is completely wrong. All right. This is Rural Ground Game's Statement of Organization, downloaded from the Virginia Department of Elections website. A statement of organization is how a committee registers with the Virginia State Board of Elections. And this is another document. It is a partial list of donors from the latest campaign finance report that Rural Ground Game submitted to the State Board of Elections. It is from the same website. So it is clear that Rural Ground Game is registered and accountable and discloses its donors. If anyone wants to check this out, no reason to take my word for it. But if anyone wants to check this out on the Department of Elections website, go through the results reports menus to campaign finance reports 2012 through present. Type in rural and select search. Select rural ground game. In conclusion, when a statement about campaign finance or other election administration comes from a partisan source, it is important to get the whole story, including documents. Thank you.
Any other comments? Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Ms. Farmer.
Yes. I want to commend the committee for all that you did through those 44 and come down to 5 and then your selection. No? Okay? It might not be what they want, okay? But I'm a believer, and I truly believe it's what God wants, okay? Maybe I'm not supposed to speak about religion, but that's Brenda, okay? And I just want to commend you, Jerry, Dave, Betty, for what you did. I know it wasn't easy.
No.
Because we all have who we wanted there.
Right.
But you can rest assured, God's gonna put what he wants. Because heaven's not gonna be made up of just Republicans or Democrats or conservatives. It's gonna be made up of all of us. So we got to take the politics out and put who the best candidate is. And that's my piece. and I'm sticking to it. For those that don't like it, tough.
And I do appreciate your text prayers for me
That's right.
regularly.
So prayer changes things. And anybody want to go up against God, I feel sorry for you.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion made, yeah. Moved, so we can adjourn at,
Second.
You got a second?
All in favor?
uh,
Thank you.